a wife of 25 years, so I should just drop the mic right now. I'm a wife of 25 years. I am a police wife. My husband was a sheriff's deputy. I am the proud mama of 21-year-old Haley, who is rocking her insurance business with Goosehead. What? I'm also the proud mama of a 19-year-old budding Broadway star. She's studying music theater in Philadelphia. And I am a recovering driver, striver, and business chaser. Does that sound like anybody? Yes, yes. So a little bit about me, beyond that, I spent 25 years, look, I'm going to knock everything over. I spent 25 years in corporate America, and the reason that I did that is because I was raised up in Prince George's County by a single mom who worked her butt off to raise 4 children on and off of welfare. I had hand-me-downs, and my hand-me-downs were from my cousins who were boys. You can imagine how well that went over. And all I knew growing up is that I had to get a job, get a degree, get a job, and start working as hard as possible. Because the only possible answer for me was money. That was it. Focused on the money, because I didn't have it. And so I thought that was everything that there could be, was about the money. So I grew up, I went to University of Maryland, go Terps. Where's my Terps? Yes. Even though they bombed and Shh, okay. At least somebody's got to beat Duke, right? Went to Maryland, graduated, and immediately got into sales. That was not my plan, but that is where my incredible sociology degree took me, was right into sales. And I was super successful, started to build a family, and immediately began to outpace my husband's income. So we reached a point where my husband was able to stay home, and I made a significant income, and then he was able to pursue his dream of being a sheriff's deputy. And then my income very quickly quadrupled his. So we were living the high life, because all I really wanted growing up was air conditioning in the summer, heat in the winter, and food in the fridge. Can anybody relate to that?
Amen.
That's it. That's all I wanted. But as I started to make the money, I started to want more money. I started to want more stuff, because I was all about stuff. I had to have a big house and a big car. And about 2 years into the final few years of my corporate career, I started to build a network marketing business with the health and wellness global brand Arbonne. And I started to do that for 2 reasons. One is because I desperately wanted to be available to my family. I never really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, because my kids will tell you if I were a stay-at-home mom, they wouldn't be here. But I wanted to be available, because you see, I traveled 70% of the time. My husband would get up and take my youngest to my friend's house to sleep on her couch at 5 a.m. so he could go to work. That left my then 13-year-old at home alone from 5 a.m. until 7:30 when she got on the bus. But see, there was no way out, because we had a big house and big cars, and I had a beautiful Mercedes from Arbonne, and there's no way that I was giving any of that up, because I worked really hard for that. But here's what happened. I hit a wall. And it wasn't because I had an issue with money. So for all of you who are super into personal development like me, you know what that sounds like. Oh, you must have an issue with money. You have a bad relationship with money. No, I don't. I have a great relationship with money. I just spend it. But I wanted more, because I had an insatiable desire that I had to have more. And it wasn't more for the sake of giving back at all. Trust me when I say, I look back now and it makes me sick to my stomach how much more we could have given, but I didn't. How many times a friend of mine would come to me and say her daughter was going on a mission, and I would say, oh, let's give her $100. But we had $30,000 in the bank. I was very selfish with money. And then I wanted the stuff to go along with it. So here's what happened. In 2014, I hit a wall in my business. I had been downsized from corporate America in 2012. Why? Because, no offense to any males, and there aren't any in the room, I was one of 2 women in a sales organization about to hit 160% to goal. The organization, a $5 billion global business, was not meeting their number, and they were going to have to pay me a 6-figure bonus. So they said, oh, I'm sorry, you're not part of our reorganization plan. You have to go. So they let me go the week before Thanksgiving. So My wall was actually not that, but it had a lot to do with that. I hit the wall because I had tied my identity up in my success. Because I define success by the bank account, the title, the recognition, the plaques on my walls. I define success in my Arbonne business by the Mercedes and the title and all of these things. So then, when I hit this wall, and things started to fall apart in both my corporate world and in my personal business, I didn't know where to go. And so I called up a mentor of mine in October 2014, and I laid it all out on the table, and she said, "Oh, sweetie," she's known as the Velvet Hammer, by the way, "you don't know who you are, and you don't know whose you are. You have built this foundation on a crumbling piece of rock. But here's the deal, there's a different way to do this, and I want you to realize that if you can change what you're doing, and for me, give my life over to Christ, that you can look at success vastly differently." So that's what I began to do. I began to pick apart what success meant for me. What really fulfilled me? Why did I start doing what I was doing? What was really getting to the heart of why I continued to do it? And it had everything to do with the availability to my family and everything to do with giving other people choices too. So a couple of years later, talking to a friend about all of this, she said, here's the thing. We still hustle. We still do we still do the work, but it's different. I like to think of it as hustle with heart. And at that point, this whole idea of hustle with heart was born. Since then, God has called me to be the Hustle with Heart coach. And so what I do is I help people attain real results for total health through my Arbonne business so they can show up in the world and make the impact that they need to make. But I also help entrepreneurs align their results to God's truth. Now I want you to know, I understand that means I'm not the coach for everybody, but I'm not afraid to stand here boldly and claim what I've been delivered from. So what I want to teach you guys about today is hustling with heart, because here's the deal. When you are fully aligned to your purpose, everything flows. It's not, I gotta go get the sale, and I gotta go find these clients. The clients that are meant for you are already lined up. So when you hustle with heart, it looks different, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. So I want to